Friends, I continue my talk on 37 factors of enlightenment. In order to recap, let me give the list once again for those who have not memorized the list. The memorizing list is one thing, and understanding each of them separately is quite another. The list is the whole 37 factors are divided into 7 factors, 7 groups. In the first group, we have 4 foundations of mindfulness. In the second, we have 4 striving, 4 kind of effort. Third, we have 4 bases of success. 3, that is the 4 group is 5 spiritual faculties. 5th group, 5 spiritual powers. 6th group, 7 factors of enlightenment. 7th group is Noble Eightfold Path. This make 37 factors of enlightenment. I have been talking on the first group, that is 4 foundations of mindfulness. I spoke of mindfulness of the body, which is divided into 6 groups: mindfulness of feeling, mindfulness of posture, mindfulness of clear comprehension, mindfulness of the practice of the 32 parts of the body, practice of 4 elements, and the 9 stages of charnel ground meditation. These are the 6. Mindfulness of feeling, we discussed pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, and then psalms with pleasure, without pleasure, and so forth. Now, today we want to discuss the mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of consciousness. That is even subtler than the other 2 groups, mindfulness of body and mindfulness of feeling. In mindfulness of the mind, mindfulness of or consciousness is divided into 16 stages, 8 pairs. 8 pairs. Let us take the first 3 pairs, that means first 6 individual states. They are the mind affected by lust. One should know the mind is affected by lust. Similarly, mind affected by mind unaffected by lust. Then the third is mind affected by hatred. Fourth is mind unaffected by hatred. Fifth is mind affected by delusion. Sixth is mind unaffected by delusion. Now these 3 I clustered together because these 3 are the major defilements we call greed, hatred, and delusion. So we must be mindful of greed, the mind with greed, mind without greed, mind with hatred, mind without hatred, mind with delusion, mind without delusion. Now, most people think that mind is affected by greed, hatred and delusion only when they meditate, sitting on a cushion or chair, when they come to meditate. Friends, that is a misunderstanding or not understanding the whole practice. Greed can arise while sitting, standing, walking, lying down, eating, drinking, talking, bending, working at the computer, working in the office doing other clerical work or administration work, farming, cutting a tree, driving. There is no one particular place where greed can arise. Greed can arise any time, in any posture. So, if somebody entertain that greed at that time, maintain it, sustain it, support it, that person in the face of mindfulness practice is called person without shame or person without fear. Airika anuttappa. If one sustain greed, hatred and delusion, I put all these three together. If somebody, hatred can arise any time, while sitting, standing, walking, lying down, eating, drinking, talking, looking at somebody, hearing somebody's voice, thinking of somebody or something, some situation. It can be people, places, economics, politics, anything. When you are engaged in doing anything, any of these things, or remembering any of these things, hatred can arise, anger can arise. Just like when you are sitting, standing, walking, lying down and so on, greed can arise while driving and so forth, greed can arise. Similarly, mind can get confused in any situation. While sitting, standing, walking, lying down, drinking, eating, talking with people, and listening to somebody's talk, and seeing something, hearing something, tasting, smelling. Whenever our senses exposed to sensory stimuli outside, confusion also can arise. Reading a book, listening to talk, confusion can arise. Writing a letter, email, confusion can arise. Any moment, any time, while we are engaged in anything, confusion can arise. If somebody think not knowing is a blessing, that person is deluded. As some people say, no news is better news, and so forth. That is confusion, and they entertain that confusion. And Buddha said they don't have shame or fear. Why is that? They don't see the weight of these defilements. So when greed is there, one may support greed, sustain greed, justify greed, thinking, this is very good, blessing. I have good greed, I am blessed. blessed. I have desire for this or for that, for this one or that one. I have desire. That's a good. If somebody doesn't have desire, people don't think that that is good. And that is what is called shamelessness. Why is that? The person does not understand that greed breeds sorrow, lamentation, pain, and despair. Greed. If somebody wants to suffer, one maintain greed. So such a person is called shameless or fearless. Fearlessness has two meanings. Buddha said, don't be afraid of doing wholesome things. That is one way of fearlessness. Other is doing any wrong thing without knowing, understanding the repercussions, the results of wrongdoing. That is also a fearlessness. So, when greed, hatred, delusion arises, as I said, it can arise any time. One should understand it and apply one's effort to overcome that greed, hatred, and delusion. Effort we have to use in four ways. One is to prevent this kind of greed, hatred, and delusion and other host of defilements arising in our mind. Preventing it. Now, when greed arises in sitting, standing, hatred and confusion arises in any time, we have to apply the greed to get rid of it. And then, so that time greed fades away. That applies to hatred as well. When hatred arises, don't justify hatred. It can arise while you are writing a letter, you are thinking, talking, any moment. Hatred can arise. But don't justify anger, saying, I have every right to get angry with this person, with this situation, with this politics, this economics, this country, that color, this and that. Don't try to justify that. If you are justifying anger, you are fooling yourself. You have no shame. You have no fear of the danger of getting angry. It is just like going to drop from a very high cliff. You will break your neck and die. Like that, when you get angry, don't justify it. You are heading trouble. So, we get rid of that. When we get rid of anger, then we know the mind is free from anger. Similarly, when we have confusion, don't try to justify confusion. Try to clarify your mind. There are many ways of clarifying the mind. One is right understanding using the first step of the Noble Eightfold Path. First step of the Noble Eightfold Path is right understanding. So we have to get rid of these three defilements: greed, hatred, and delusion. When we got rid of them, got them out of our way, then we experience very much different feeling. Peace, calm, relaxed, beautiful moment. So when we this is meditation. This is meditation. So meditation doesn't mean that we sit in one place on a cushion in a dark room without light, without sound, seclusion, and all this, of course, included. But that is not all. That is a part of our meditation. Total practice is in our living life. Sitting, standing, walking, lying down, talking, and so on. Even when we go to bed. In bed, sometimes lust can arise, hatred can arise. Immediately switch on to your mindfulness practice and get rid of it. And then you will see the absence of these three main defilements. Since these are very common, I put these three together. And then number 7 is contracted mind as contracted mind. What is a contracted mind? Contracted mind is depressed mind. You are withdrawn from everything, not exposed to anything. You don't want to talk to anybody. You feel so down. That is called contracted mind. That is a mental state. And we must understand this is a mental state that I should not maintain, sustain. This is different from being seclusion. This is different from being seclusion. You still have all defilements and want to withdraw from everything. That is called withdrawn mind or the contracted mind. Contracted. That we should not maintain. At the same time, then in order to get rid of that contracted mind, we want to be more mindful and be aware of our mental state and see how impermanent that state is. After some time it disappears. Then it can happen, then the opposite of that can happen. That is distracted mind. Again, for the distracted mind, we must apply our effort to bring it back, to focus it on something very pure, clean, universal, something. That is our breath. That is our breath. Bring our mind to our breath, bring our mind back to our mindfulness or metta meditation. As we started every session with metta, we must focus the mind on metta. When we focus the mind on metta, we feel that we are one with all. We are one with all other beings. We are breathing together with all others to the same rhythm, to the same palpitation, to the same expansion and contraction. That way, that distracted mind can put into very meaningful, profitable practice. And then next is unexalted mind and exalted mind and unexalted mind. Exalted mind is called Mahagata and Amahagata in Pali. Mahagata, exalted mind. What is Mahagata? Exalted means elevated the mind from ordinary state. What does it mean? When one attains, when one gains concentration, when one overcome all the five hindrances, one gains concentration, and that concentrated mind has two stages. One is called attaining material jhana, other is called immaterial attainment. Material jhana is called jhanas, but it has another name, and I think that name is much better in this discussion. That is Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara. Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara. That is living in happiness in this life. That means experiencing happiness. Because happiness leads to concentration. Happiness leads to concentration. Buddha mentioned several times in several places, Sukhino Chittang Samadhyati. Sukhino Chittang Samadhyati. When mind is, when somebody is happy, that person's mind gains concentration. Now remember, this happiness, I have mentioned this many times in the past in my talks, does not mean excitement. This happiness is not just like ordinary happiness that you, by seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching and so on, remembering somebody and so forth, you become sort of delighted, excited, and you sometimes talk, thinking of somebody you like, you keep talking, hours on, talking. Thinking of some of your success in business, in your promotion, in going to certain places, seeing certain things, you keep talking, and you are laughing. You are jumping up and down, and even kissing, hugging, crying. All these things you do when you are happy in ordinary sense. That is not happiness in the spiritual sense. That is just excitement. But when you gain this happiness arises from overcoming hindrances. I said, when all the hindrances, greed, hatred, sleepiness and drowsiness, restlessness and worry and doubt, when they are all gone, then mind is so delighted, so calm, so peaceful, you experience happiness. With that happiness, you gain concentration, which is called jhana. But here, it is better for us to use the term experiencing happiness in this life. It's called Ditta Dhamma Sukha Vihara. Experiencing happiness in this life. Remember, experiencing happiness in this life is not excitement. It arises from within, knowing your hindrances are gone. Mind is so relaxed, peaceful. You have concentration. And that the prerequisite for that concentration is happiness. Sukhino Chitta Samadhi. Happy mind gains concentration. So, then the next, that is called exalted state of mind. Exalted. Other exalted state of mind is called Santa Vimokha. Santa Vimokha. And sometimes that is peaceful liberation of hindrances and all material things. Your mind is free from all material concern. When you say material concern, there are many things to think. These two stages are called exalted mind. When the mind has these two stages, the happiness, experiencing happiness in this life, and then peaceful liberation, Santa Vimokha. When the mind reaches that stage, you should know. Then, unexalted mind means the mind that does not have these two stages. Then, surpassed mind and unsurpassed mind. Surpassed mind is also attaining all mundane state, attaining even higher stages like stream entry. That is surpassed mind. Surpassed. Unsurpassed means the mind that has not attained that state. That means it not attained even stream entry. Then, number 13 is very easy to understand. Concentrated mind. Number 14 is unconcentrated mind. Very easy to understand this. We all know that in sitting meditation. And this is the complaint we hear very often from people when they come to meditation. They say, I cannot concentrate. So we must know the concentrated mind as concentrated mind, unconcentrated mind as unconcentrated mind. When the mind is unconcentrated, we strive to arouse our concentration, getting rid of all distractions. There are many distractions, we get rid of them. And last pair, liberated mind and unliberated mind. Liberated mind as liberated mind, unliberated mind as unliberated mind. These are the 16 stages and 8 pairs of the mindfulness of the mind. Now, let me go through this list very quickly. First, you put what you call numbers. I read the list very quickly because my time is running out. Mind affected by greed, mind not affected by greed. Mind affected by hatred, mind not affected by hatred. Mind affected by delusion, mind unaffected by delusion. Then contracted mind, distracted mind. Exalted mind, unexalted mind. Surpassed mind, unsurpassed mind. Concentrated mind, unconcentrated mind. Liberated mind, unliberated mind. So, each of these states should be very clearly known, recognized as they are. As they are. Seeing them as they are is the way of practicing, the results of practicing mindfulness meditation. There are many other things to see as they are, But here, in the mindfulness of the mind, or mindfulness of consciousness, these are the things that we must see as they are. These 16 steps or 8 pairs as they are. Without any distortion, without any confusion. I mention this very emphatically because many people, when they come to meditation, they say, I saw a very bright light, I felt like floating in the air, I can read others' thoughts, I can see my previous life, this and that. Don't think of those things. You get confused, you stay on the track, and you will see these things as they are. Then you are on the right path. With this, I like to end this morning's talk and with my benediction. That is, may all those who are in hospitals or homes suffering from various diseases, sicknesses, may they recover very quickly and return to their normal, regular life and continue their practice, be free from all sickness and liberate from samsaric suffering. May all the doctors and nurses who take care of these people at home or in hospitals out of compassion, sacrificing their comfort and risking their own life, they take care of these people. May they continue their wonderful, compassionate, loving, friendly practice and live long in very good health and continue their Dhamma practice and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all others who are supporting people in any way, many ways, financially and physically, may they continue their wonderful service and live long in very good health, continue their Dhamma practice and attain liberation. May those who have lost their loved ones and grieving, may they be free from their grief and continue their regular mundane life until they attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all leaders who have taken very insightful, wise leadership to guide the world in many ways, may they continue their wonderful service to humanity. May those who are suffering in various places, in various ways, from economically, politically, beings in war fronts, fighting, suffering, and the enormous amount of pain. We want to wish all of them to be free from pain, free from suffering, and be peaceful. May all entire world be very peaceful for people to live in happiness and liberate from samsaric suffering. With this thought, I like to wish you all too peace, happiness, and liberation from samsaric suffering. Okay. Now I end this morning's talk.